Greg, thanks so much for being a part of Training Bytes. What I'd like to ask you first, or what I'd like to ask you first is sort of what do you see as the biggest mistake that collectors make when negotiating payments with consumers?
Well, Mike, thanks for having me here, and for anyone who has found themselves watching these little training bites, we appreciate your time and your commitment to being excellent in this arm industry. So, of course, we're in the business of money, and it all comes down to putting money on the board and driving revenue, and we can greatly impact that as the frontline agent through negotiations. And negotiations is for many of us, a lifelong journey as far as getting really good at it and learning the ins and outs. So keep practicing and don't expect to be an expert right away, but put yourself out there. And Mike, I'd say one of the biggest things that we need to remind ourselves is in this world, you should never expect to get something that you simply don't ask for or don't put out there into the world. And so I think the biggest mistake or misstep that we can make in negotiations is if the collector at kind of the top of the call or the beginning stages of the conversation abandons the requirement oftentimes put in place by your agency or the company and clients you are representing. We abandon asking and expecting payment in full, PIF as we like to say, and or even taking one tiny step down with another large payment with the settlement in full. So we are oftentimes just wanting to get something on the board, and we will jump to that small minimum kind of amount. But we need to set the table straight away and let that consumer know that this is your balance in full. We are asking you to make good on that balance in full. Let's go ahead and process that payment. And then, of course, if I do that in a nice tone, then I can at least capture what their thoughts and their current situation is before I jump down into lower tiered payments, before I say, well, there might also be a settlement involved, and or, of course, we are happy to work with you on those payment plans. But we have to always let the consumer know we are here to help you regardless of what we end up on. We do have multiple solutions, but let's go ahead and get this taken care of as efficiently as possible, and let's discuss how we can get this balance paid in full. And from there, if they are telling you that they can't, then I'm going to go into certain reasonings, like say, okay, well, thank you for letting me be aware of that. Before I move on to other options, I want to just take a brief moment to understand your current financial situation. I don't need a deep dive. I just need a couple of things. Where are you employed? Open-ended questions. When is your money coming in? How much are you bringing in a month? Anyone else helping you pay your bills right now? I want to know to a small degree what else you have going on, because I'm going to discuss those options and items to see if there truly is an opportunity for us to take a payment in full. Or even specifically now in the first quarter of the year, looking into tax return kind of options as well. And at the end of the day, we really can't force the consumer or change their overall situation. And when they truly cannot pay the balance in full, let them give you the opportunity to present why. And the other mistake then would be when I let them know, hey, we do have payment options for you, is I don't want to give them the first number. That is also a big mistake, Mike. I'm going to let them say, hey, you tell me what you can do each month, and I'm going to take that number and I'm going to equate it to time. Not so much how much that payment was, but what time frame does that mean that you're going to be in a state of collections in our office. So I want them, after we've discovered that payment in full or settlement in full is definitely not achievable for them at any point in time soon, when I move to the payment plan, I need them to drop that first number. I will equate that number to time. It's either going to be a good number, or I'm going to say, hey, let me remind you how much time it's going to take for you to pay this down. Might I suggest X amount based on your financial situation? We can even process these payments bi-weekly to help alleviate some of that money coming out all at once. But don't abandon PIF or SIF until you get a clear picture of their financial situation. Always let them know we're here to help them, and we will provide them multiple options. And when it does come time to break down payment arrangements, let them make that first offering, which is more often than not going to be too difficult for you to get an increase on when you base that payment around time.
Excellent. Well, I love the answer, Greg. Thanks so much for being here today. Thanks for being a part of Training Bytes. Thanks again to Peak Revenue Learning for sponsoring this series, and thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back with another episode next week. Until then, take care.
Thank you.